Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you the tips and tricks on how to save money in the UK. And this is based on my experience on what we did in the first 3 years in UK, and we managed to pay off the deposit to buy our first home. So just a disclaimer, the steps that I will be mentioning might not be applicable to you. So this is just solely based on our experience. So stay tuned. So the first tips I'm going to mention here is about your mindset, your attitude, and also your commitment in order to save. So when I first came to the UK, we only exchanged our Malaysian ringgit to pounds, which I remember very clearly is just 500 pounds. So we started off with 500 pounds. So luckily, in the first 2 months, our accommodation is actually paid by the company. And I still remember that time is that I always think how to save our 500 pounds so that we don't use up the 500 pounds in the first month. And I'm very anxious to get my first salary here. So that is my motivation to save. And for the attitude is that we need to start saving small, not in terms of years, but in terms of the value. So we always can start saving very small amount of money, regardless of how many pounds, and eventually will grow up the saving value. And lastly is the commitment. So once you get started on saving, then we will need to commit to the journey. And I remember this quote from Rohn is that motivation is what gets you started, but habit is the one that keeps you going. So once you have started the motivation to save money, then we will need to keep the commitment and save every month. Eventually you will build up the habit. So just a pro tip, the quote that I mentioned just now is not only applicable for saving, it's actually applicable for whatever things that you do in life. So once you have the motivation to do something, you need to keep up the commitment or the habit to continue working on it. If not, you will eventually stop whatever things that you are motivated to do initially. So on my second tips, if you are alone in the UK, then this tip will probably not applicable for you. But if you are here together with your partner, then I would highly suggest that both of you will be working, because based on experience, during the first few months when we were in the UK, my wife is jobless and we cannot really see a huge amount of saving, because most of my income is actually paid off to the rental. So best if both of you can work, but if not, it doesn't really matter as well. There will still be saving, but it's not really a huge amount. Unless you are not paying for your rental, then it will be a good deal. So my third tip here is that I think is the most important, is how do we utilize money dripping. What is money dripping? Money dripping means that we are utilizing every single value of our money in the bank account to earn interest as much as possible. So what I would like to recommend here is that normally I would go for this bank account type to earn the most interest. So the first one is regular saver, where every month you contribute 200 to maximum of 300 pounds depending on the bank, and you need to do this for 1 whole year in order for you to earn this interest. And I've seen a lot of bank regular saver is still the highest interest so far. And the best thing is that you can actually open the regular saver with different bank. So you can open with bank A, and then you can open another regular saver in a bank B. So try to do this as much as possible. And the only bad thing I can see is that you will have a lot of bank accounts. So once you have done that, the next best option I would say is the cash ISA, because cash ISA has a limit of 20,000+ in a year. It changes every year, but the interest earned from the cash ISA is tax free. So cash ISA, in my first 3 years in the UK, the interest was quite high, but now it is fallen very low because of recession. And then the third bank account type I would recommend is the fixed term, whereby you taking one large sum of money and put inside the fixed term for 1 year, 3 years, or even 5 years, and you will have a very high interest on that as well. So if you are not urgently wanted to use the money, then it's advisable that you put that money into the fixed term. And lastly will be like the bonus saver. So this is where you earn interest, a very low interest, but you can actually take out the money anytime that you need it. still it depends on the bank, so it's best to research very thoroughly each of the bank that you wanted to apply account. So there are two pro tips here for the bank saving account. The pro tip one is that I always use money saving expert, or this is money, to research what are the best interest rate in the market now. And then secondly is that try to have a joint account and contribute money together into that account, because when you reach a certain level, like example like a platinum level in a bank, they will actually provide you with much more benefit with a higher saving interest rate example. So try to do that as much as possible. So my fourth tip here is that most of the people will actually allocate a certain amount of money based on their salary to put inside a different bucket. Example like 40% in your savings, 40% for your daily use, and then another 30% for investment, etc. But for me, I have a different method. So my wife is an accountant, so that's another benefit for me. So she will actually do she will actually do an audit every end of the month to see where is our expenses. She will actually categorize food, gas, mortgages, and etc. So by every end of the month, we will know like how much we are spending on our wants versus our needs, and how much we can actually save in a month. So every time you receive your salary, you can straight away allocate those savings into your regular saver, your bonus saver, your savings account, all those stuff, and just left a bare minimum of cash into your current account so that you can spend wisely. So tips number 5 is about spending, how you control your spending, because the less you spend, then the more you will save or earn. So on spending, you will need to categorize what is your needs versus your wants. So on the needs will be those essential items that normally we cannot save. Example like your food, electricity, your gas, those are the essential items. Because without those, you will probably cannot survive here. And just based on experience, during my first 3 years here, I just checked back the lot or the audit lot that my wife did. We actually spent just average £300 a month on our food, which is, I'm quite impressed with that. We are only spending that much of money on our groceries. So if I can do it, you probably can save that much of money as well. And then on the wants, so I would advise here that if you really wanted to purchase something, wait for a big sales event, example like Amazon Prime, Black Friday, or even Boxing Day. So the pro tips here is that if you wanted an item, I would suggest you to wait about a week or 2 weeks and then to check back whether do you still want that item or not. Because normally after 2 weeks, you will probably have lost interest in the item and you probably don't want to buy it anymore. And then if you really wanted to buy that even after the 2 weeks period, I would advise you to check out Top Cashback. This is a website that I use many times if I wanted to buy something. And you will eventually get a certain percentage of cashback by using that website. This is a very reliable website. On the tips number 6, so if you are going to spend, then you might as well be using a credit card. So many people will advise not to use credit card because of they are unable to control their spending habit. But if you have been following my steps so far, then I would advise you to please use credit card. And by using this credit card is that you don't overspend, disclaimer. And what are the benefits for credit card is that you actually earn points on your credit card, and you can actually earn cashback as well on some of the credit cards, so depending what type of credit cards that you are using. But if you are still afraid that you are overspending, you can always set a limit to your credit card. So by using credit card as well, and if you are afraid of overspending and you cannot repay that, you can always set a limit to your credit card. Do not overspend that amount. And just a fair warning, if you are using credit card again, please pay off your credit card every month, because the interest rate for credit card is very high and it's not worth it if you cannot repay the credit card. Okay, so tips number 7. All of us will have to pay for our electricity, our gas bill, our internet bill, etc. And I always use a comparison website to look for a new deal, especially if we are switching a provider for our gas, our electricity, or even our internet. by doing this, you will eventually save a lot more compared to be using the same provider for every year. So pro tips here, so this is just based on experience, especially broadband. So we really like the broadband from BT because it's reliable and it's never down before. But the deals for new customer for BT is much more better for existing customer. So what we do here is that in the first 2 years, example, I will be using my wife's name to apply for the broadband. And then at the end of the contract, I will cancel it and then I will apply for a 2 years new contract under my name. So you can do this cycle repeatedly to get the best deal out of the broadband. Yeah, so try it out. So tip number 8 is more about freebies. It's not about saving money per se, but freebies will eventually stop you from spending money. So the best 2 freebies that we use often is by getting discount from your service provider, your mobile service provider. Example like O2, if you didn't know, there's always a free coffee every week on Tuesday or Wednesday from Cafe Nero, which we love the coffee there so much. And then secondly, it's like, example like Vodafone, which my wife is using. There's you can get like cheaper movie tickets from Vu Cinema. It's like £7 for two tickets. So if you like to watch movie, then it will be a very worth deal. You can always check out different website or different provider to see what are the benefits or that you can get out from them. So my 9 tips here is try not to get a car because car will incur car insurance, your road tax, your servicing, your MOT, and you obviously need to pay for your gas unless it's an EV car. So based on experience, my first 3 years in the UK, I don't have a car and it actually saved me quite a lot of money. And it's also good for us because to get food is actually just walking distance to a nearby Sainsbury. But when we move to our new home, it's quite far away and we will eventually need to get a car. And my 10 tips is don't go for holiday. I'm kidding. So we still have holiday during our first 3 years in the UK. We only have 2 abroad, where first one we went to Italy and the second one is we actually flew back to Malaysia to visit our parents. And then other than that, we are only having like local trips just around the UK because that will be a cheaper options compared to flying abroad. But due to the COVID now, I believe most of you will not be able to travel far away for holiday, so hopefully this can also save you a lot of money. And I have bonus last 2 tips for you, which is not an instant saving, but this will be a long-term saving. So the first one is always do investment. So saving money will probably not earn you as much as investment. But if you are not good in investment, then I will highly suggest you to get your own company shares via ShareSafe because it will be in a discounted stock price. Or you can always join, there are a few online platforms that will help you to decide what are the shares to buy. And obviously there will be commission on that. And the second thing is on pension because most of the company will contribute more if you are also contributing to your pension. And for pension, you won't be able to get back the money unless you are retiring, but it's still a good thing that your employer is actually paying more into your pension bucket for your old age. And lastly, before I end the video, I want to show you a mathematical on how much you can actually save based on what my expenses was last 3 years. And this is just a mathematical example. So me and my wife's salary combined at that point of time, I averaged out is about 4,000 net after tax. And then we are paying a rental of 1,500. And then we will minus out our food, average a month will be 300. And then we minus out the transport that I'm taking. Every month I'm paying like £60 to take the trains to the city. And my wife is not paying for transport because she is working nearby and is walking distance. And then our gas electricity bill will be around 50 to 60 pounds. And at that point, our council tax is very cheap because it's a very small apartment. It's just around 60 pounds average. And that leaves us with a total sum of £2,000, and then let's say I would take another £500 out of the 2,000 as other expenses. If you want to have like a proper meal or to get a birthday gift or whatever reason, so that 500 is like additional cash for you to use, and you end up with 1,500. So based on this amount, I would say like the minimum, let's say you can save 1,000 out of the 1,500, or even maximum you can save 1,500 from it. So we multiply that by 3 years, 36 months, and you will save like a minimum of 36,000 up to a maximum of 54,000, which will be sufficient for you to pay off your deposit for your first home. So I just want to recap back the main things for you in order to start saving. And these are only for the people who are not good in investing. Is that you need to have the mindset, you need to have the habit and commitment to do the saving. So once you have that, the rest are just automatically coming in. So even though you are saving a very small amount of money every month, do not be despair, because eventually, example like regular saver, if you are in your first year and you are actually contributing 250 every year for your regular saver, so in a year you will get £3,000 out from it, and this £3,000 you can actually reuse it for your next year regular saver, and you can contribute another 250 for your new regular saver. So this is how you do it in order to quickly save money. So hope you enjoy my video, and I hope my tips and tricks will help you to save money wherever you are. It doesn't mean that must be in UK, because the steps that I mentioned is pretty much very standard for no matter where you live. So guys, that's all for my video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hope to see you in my next video.